The reported attack on the United Arab Emirates Barakah nuclear power plant sent shockwaves through global energy markets, triggering fears that the Iran war could spiral into a much larger regional crisis. Global oil markets reacted sharply after reports emerged of a blaze engulfing parts of the Barakah facility, with traders fearing that the Gulf's critical energy infrastructure was becoming increasingly vulnerable. Oil prices also came under further pressure as concerns grew over widening political and strategic divisions among Gulf allies, particularly amid fears that hopes for a regional truce were rapidly collapsing. Some observers are now questioning whether one of Washington's closest Arab allies is facing the consequences of supporting a harder line against Tehran during the escalating regional confrontation. Brent crude prices surged past $111 per barrel on May 18 as growing fears surrounding the Iran war sent fresh waves of panic through already volatile global energy markets. According to multiple reports, this marked the sharpest rise in oil prices since May 5, intensifying concerns that the world could soon face a much deeper and more prolonged energy crisis. Meanwhile, U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude also climbed sharply and crossed the $108 mark as investors reacted to fears of further instability across the Middle East. The spike in oil prices came shortly after reports that the United Arab Emirates Barakah nuclear power plant had come under attack on May 17, raising fears of wider regional escalation. On May 17, a drone strike caused a fire at an electrical generator associated with the Barakah nuclear power plant, instantly raising alarms about the vulnerability of critical energy infrastructure. The attack occurred in the Al Dhafra region and, crucially, outside the plant's heavily protected inner perimeter, allowing Emirati officials to stress that the reactor itself was never in direct danger. Abu Dhabi's media office reported that no injuries were recorded and that radiological safety levels remained unchanged, seeking to calm fears of any nuclear leak or contamination. Authorities emphasized that the blaze was quickly contained by emergency teams and did not breach any of Barakah's core nuclear safety systems, framing the incident as a security warning rather than a nuclear accident. So far, the UAE Defense Ministry has publicly maintained that the source of the drone attack is unknown, keeping its official language carefully neutral. Unlike previous incidents, Abu Dhabi has pointedly avoided directly accusing Iran, a notable change in tone that has fueled speculation about other possible culprits. Iran's Tasnim news agency quickly raised questions about possible Saudi involvement, highlighting regional rivalries and hinting at tensions that go beyond the usual Iran-UAE narrative. Tasnim claimed that relations between Riyadh and Abu Dhabi have recently entered a cold phase, suggesting that political friction could now be spilling over into the security realm. All of this is unfolding as Saudi Arabia and the UAE increasingly disagree over key parts of regional security strategy, from Iran and Yemen to energy policy and ties with Israel. Amid fresh warnings that the ceasefire could collapse, a new account of the UAE's behind-the-scenes role is shocking the region, casting Trump's Gulf ally as one of the loudest voices for hitting Iran harder. According to this report, shortly after U.S.-Israeli strikes began, Abu Dhabi pressed its neighbors to join a broader regional response, trying to turn limited retaliation into a Gulf-wide front against Tehran. Mohammed bin Zayed personally urged Saudi Arabia and Qatar to participate in a joint answer to Iranian attacks, arguing that only a united wall of states could deter further strikes. MBZ is reported to have believed that if the Gulf stood together, politically and militarily, Iran would think twice before firing on oil terminals, towers, and airports again. Instead, key partners including Saudi Arabia and several other Gulf states refused to sign up to a retaliatory campaign, judging that escalation carried more risks than benefits. Some leaders are even said to have told MBZ bluntly that this was not their conflict, signaling they were unwilling to be dragged deeper into a fight they saw as primarily US-Iranian. According to reports, US President Donald Trump is now expected to meet his national security team to discuss possible military options and strategic responses regarding Iran. Axios reported that Trump is likely to review a range of potential military scenarios involving Iran during high-level discussions with top national security and defense advisors. Reports also suggest that the White House prepared for a major security meeting focused specifically on Iran and the rapidly deteriorating situation in the Middle East on May 18. The meeting comes at a tense moment after Trump's recent talks with Chinese President Xi Jinping reportedly ended without Beijing offering meaningful help to end the Iran war. On May 15, China's foreign minister described the Xi-Trump talks as fruitful and wide-ranging, framing the summit as a substantive engagement across many policy areas. Wang Yi said the two leaders spent nearly 9 hours in exchanges that combined formal talks, state banquets and working meetings, underscoring the visit's intensity. He emphasized a tone of mutual respect, a shared commitment to peace and a willingness to expand cooperation, language aimed at calming tensions and deepening ties. Wang also said both sides agreed to build a more constructive relationship of strategic stability, signaling an interest in steadier, calmer U.S.-China relations. However, China's official readout and Wang Yi himself made no mention of Iran's nuclear program, a notable omission given Trump's public statements on the subject. The readout likewise did not refer to any offer by Beijing to help resolve the Iran conflict, contradicting Trump's subsequent claims that she had offered assistance. That contrast stands in stark relief to Trump's assertion that she could influence Tehran on both uranium enrichment and the situation in the Strait of Hormuz. Beijing instead reiterated its consistent position calling for dialogue and de-escalation, favoring diplomatic steps rather than pressure or coercive measures. On the Strait of Hormuz, China said reopening should depend on a sustained ceasefire, a conditional formulation that stops short of endorsing external enforcement actions.
This has been an incredible visit. I think a lot of good has come of it. We've made some fantastic trade deals, great for both countries. He's a man I respect greatly, become really a friend. We've known each other now 11 years, almost 12 years, that's a long time. And we've settled a lot of different problems that other people wouldn't have been able to settle. And the relationship is a very strong one. We did discuss Iran. We feel very similar to Iran. We want that to end. We don't want them to have a nuclear weapon. We want the straits open. We're closing it now. I mean, they closed it, and we closed it on top of them. But we want the straits open, and we want them to get it ended because it's a crazy thing. They're a little bit crazy. When it's no good, can't have it. They cannot have a nuclear weapon.